Well, hello everybody, welcome in. I may not have a fruit group, but I have fruit gushers. Let's go. Welcome back. We're going to be playing some more Ace Attorney. So let's get into it, shall we?
They sure are taking their time. I thought this was supposed to be a 10-minute recess. Sorry to keep you losers waiting. But wait no longer. I won the race to find Delicia Stone, and here she is. Hello, dears. This lovely young man said you wanted to speak with me. Delicia Stone, purveyor of the most wondrous wares a pharmacist can offer, at your service. Leads you to my pals, and even Miss Delicious to some. Well, you can call me the winner, and I'll call you whatever I want. All right, Winnie Pooh, whatever you say. It's lovely to meet you, dearie.
So much for call me the winner.
Oh, have we met before, young man?
Get a load of this, Delicia. That's Miles Edgeworth, Gregory's son.
Well, I never. It's a pleasure to meet you, Milesy Smilesy.
If you must best be by my given name, just Miles will do.
Oh, Greggy Peglegs, boy, all grown up too. Makes me feel my age, why don't you?
I wonder just how old she is.
Eustace, I believe we have some questions for our pharmacist. Yeah. What brings you to the gallery today, Miss Scone? Why, I came to see a dear old Moody Judy, of course. We've been fast friends for 18 long years, and no one's going to stop me from visiting her now. I understand that you should help look after Mr. Gusto in the immediate aftermath of the attack. Oh, I didn't do much, really. Just whipped up a quick antidote for the dear old doctor. Wow, you can make an antidote just like that? Oh, yes, dear. As long as I have the right ingredients, I can put together just about any medicine you like. Certainly helped that medical room was well equipped, though. You're much better off treating him here than losing vital minutes taking him to the hospital. Anyway, what can we do? The rest, well, that's up to him. And you do know the victim, Miss Delicious? Well, yes, well, sort of. It's been 18 years since I last saw him. Apparently he's famous these days. One of the best confectioners in the world, or so they say. Interesting. He's a well-known public figure. Oh, yes, dear. He was on the news and everything. Confectionery crafting king of the world, they said.
Wow, so the old dog really went to Zhang Fa and upped his game, just like he said he would.
Perhaps, if we could proceed to the matter at hand, Miss Scone. Are you familiar with a substance known as Investicide Ultra? Of course, dear. You use it to get rid of, you know what. Oh, it's awfully strong, though. That's why they don't sell it in shops.
When I ask what you mean by you-know-whats?
The little blighters that frighten the poor innocent ladies like yours truly, that's what. Ghastly little creatures running around people's nice clean kitchens and terrorizing them.
Oh, I get it. Those.
Thank you, Miss Scone. One more question, if you don't mind. Are you aware of what happens when the chemicals asphyxion and ubiquium are combined? Oh, yes. It's right there in the Investicide Ultra instructions. Do not mix with products containing ubiquium. Ever. Because if you do, they react with each other and make a horrible poisonous gas. What was it again? Effects of inhalation include respiratory complications and, death. Poor old Gusty nearly didn't make it. To make that much gas, you need, probably 500 milliliters of each chemical, I'd say.
She certainly talks like a skilled pharmacist.
Ubiquium's awfully thick and sticky and heats up very quickly indeed. It's also bright red and smells meaty fresh, or cheap as chips. That's why they use it in everything. Asphyxion's more watery and it's white in color. That will do. Thank you. You are clearly well informed, Miss Scone. As well I should be, dearie. After all, Investicide Ultra is made by the company I work for. Oh, but before you get the wrong idea, they don't go out handing out free samples. As I say, it's awfully terribly dangerous, but you couldn't buy it even if you wanted to.
Oh, don't go on, Andre.
Yes, Miss Scone. Very interesting indeed. I think that tells us all we need to know.
Strange. Thought she suspected Miss Scone.
Something in that smile makes me wonder if she has some other angle in mind. What is it? What is it, Detective Flatfoot? Any developments to report?
Yes, sir. Turns out the sculpture's glass display opens from the top.
Huh? That's rather unusual.
And the temperature inside can be adjusted too, all the way down to 0 degrees. The Pisces case was kept at 26 degrees. Dang near got my hand stuck to it.
We're lucky you escaped alive. Anything more relevant to the case?
Yeah, they found something on the other side of the top part of the Pisces case. Traces of ubiquium.
Oh, now we're talking. That's odd. If there's ubiquium stuck to it, it should have stayed stuck. After all, at 26 degrees, it would have been frozen solid. It would, huh? So how did things wind up as they are now?
I think Kay might be able to help us figure just that. Or at least Mr. Thief might.
Hey, you guys are mere desperate to get on my good side, huh? Fine, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but take it away. Can't believe I'm taking orders from this guy, but whatever. Anything for the truth.
Before you get too carried away, the goddess of justice has no need for your help. We will find the truth ourselves. Yosh, why so frosty, Judge G? Your baby prosecutors gave the big thumbs up. What's the issue here? Ooh, wait, don't tell me the committee has some dirty little secret it doesn't want us finding out. I am not required to explain myself to you, but if you feel that you absolutely must participate in the investigation, perhaps you could prove to me that it will be worth our while to keep you around. Exactly what does she have in mind here? Who triggered the release of the poison gas? If you can answer this question, I will consent to your participation in the investigation. You heard the lady's smiles. Somebody opened the Pisces case to let out that gas. Considering what we've learned so far, there's only one person it could have possibly be, no? Yes, the answer is indisputable. Is that case, please kindly provide it now. Who released the poison gas? I mean, him. He was the only one in here. The victim, Carmelo Augusto, is the only person to have entered the autumn wing. Thus, only he could have opened the case. Correct. That appears to be the only logical answer. Very well, I will permit your participation in this investigation to continue. However, if at any point I feel you are contributing nothing of value, you will be removed. Immediately. Understood. And Mr. Augusto did open the case, we still have no idea why.
Alright, Mr. Edward, tell me what you want to see.
Let's use the data we've collected to recreate the scene before the poison gas went off.
On it! Eek, don't scare me like that!
So this is what you were talking about, your Mr. Thief. Let's begin by examining the Pisces sculpture. The generous amount of ubiquium frozen to the underside part of the top case.
Yeah, which is what's keeping that lid real tight.
The glass lid is all cracked though, right? Somebody really went to town on your little house there, huh, Pisces? And do we have any idea how the glass lid might have come to be so cracked? Well, it doesn't look like the outer-facing side of the glass suffered any damage. I see. So we have a cracked piece of glass that we know was ice cold on the inner-facing side. We also know that it wasn't damaged in any direct way on its outer-facing surface. Thoughts? Ice cold makes me think of the way you glare at people, sir.
Cracks. Makes me think about those deeply etched lines on your forehead.
It was cracked by heat expansion. Applying heat to ice-cold glass from the outside will cause it to crack. Oh, well, I appreciate the science lesson, but why is it all heat cracked in the first place? Why indeed, a heat-cracked glass lid lined on its underside with frozen ubiquium. You look like the cat's got the cream, Miles Reno. You know what happened, don't you? I certainly do. And what's more, I know how Mr. Gusto opened the case.
What? But you didn't give me a chance to figure it out first.
Having quite the wait.
Well, don't keep it to yourself, Edgeworth. I want answers.
Mr. Open the case. The blowtorch. The blowtorch showed signs of having been used recently when it was found here in the autumn wing. I think it's likely that it was used on the glass lid, causing it to crack.
A blowtorch? Who uses a blowtorch to open a glass case? Oh, I get it. Mr. Gusto was trying to melt the frozen ubiquium so he could open the lid.
Indeed.
You beat me to the answer by a second, but we'll see who wins there in the end. Don't try and hell as you nearly had it. You didn't have a clue. No, it was Edgeworth making things hard to understand.
Okay, would you mind updating the recreations so that Mr. Winner can follow along too?
Sure, just for him. All right, here goes.
Allie, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate the raid. Let's go ahead and get you a shout out. Sorry I didn't respond earlier. I really need to stop playing 30XX. I keep getting drawn into it, and I keep forgetting that I'm actually doing things. You know, and respond to people, you know. It's like the last couple days I've been literally responding to no one because I've been playing that and it's non-stop. I need to stop. Anyway, I have fruit groceries, so I'm gonna keep going. Mr. Gusto was alone in the autumn wing. And while he was in here, he used this blowtorch to melt the frozen ubiquium on the other side of the lid.
And?
As the ubiquium melted, it mixed with the asphyxion that was already present inside the glass case, thereby producing our poisonous gas. If Mr. Gusto had finally managed to open the lid, he would have released the gas and poisoned himself. He made it as far as the fountain room where he collapsed. So he opened the case and came the gas, huh? These who got there in the end. Well, why the heck a doodle did he want to open the case in the first place? I'm not sure. In fact, we don't even know what his ultimate goal was. I'm thinking he might have come here for the same reason I did. To check out the autumn wing, but not the autumn wing, but the winter wing. Bentley, did you get yourself caught? Bentley, are you stuck? Bentley. I have an orange cat being orange, chat. Hold on, let me get her off the blinds. Come here. Oh, you got yourself up? Okay, good. Be careful. You know that doesn't work well. You remember, Rat? I thought this was where the winter wing was when we first got here.
Good job, mighty Eddie Lumpkin. I was ever so confused with it being where the Chilly Winkin's room was all those years ago. There's even the same little tree in front of the blessed door would be on all 6s and 7s, huh?
Did everyone of the IS7 incident make the same mistake? I think we need to go take another look at the winter wing. Time to see how quickly I can convince Mr. Winner, I suppose.
Eureka! Ladies and gentlemen, I have the answer.
The answer to what, exactly?
The man was going to end it all. A dramatic exit stage left sort of artsy-fartsy farewell. Have you been listening at all to this whole time? At my level, I barely need to listen to a word. I still understand exactly half of what's going on.
Perhaps I can explain a few of the finer details to you later, Eustace. Winner's prerogative.
Winners? Sure, thanks, Gavel.
Thank you indeed. I find it's always best to leave things like child wrangling to a professional. In the meantime, do you have something to tell Mr. Edgeworth and his friends?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
What is it now?
I took the liberty of investigating our friendly pig pharmacist here. Or rather, I had one of my underlings do it for me. That's not anything to brag about, you know. Shut up! Can't you see I'm talking? Anyway, let's put a pin in my suicide theory for now. Yeah? I have something important to tell you. It was Miss Delicious who set up the poison gas trap. Eek! How could you say something like that?
I was greatly saddened to learn of this, Miss Scone. Your profession is one dedicated to saving lives, and yet you use your expertise to take one.
I beg your pudding! How dare you! I did no such thing.
Perhaps you could explain, Mr. Winner?
You bet I can. Get a load of this. This is Miss Delicious' pharmacist card. It says right here that she's authorized to handle Infesticide Ultra.
Product that we have established contains asphyxion. one of the ingredients of our poison gas.
Exactly. It's almost impossible for ordinary people to get hold of that stuff. But Miss Delicious is no ordinary person. She's a card-carrying pharmacist. I did do it. This is just a terrible misunderstanding.
Objection!
And that's not all. There was a bottle of Infesticide Ultra in the victim's pocket. And what do you know? It's covered in your fingerprints. We know that you and Miss Bound took the victim to the medical room. But that moment to slip the bottle into his pocket, No.
Hi, Bentley. Welcome back. Welcome back, Bentley. Pet the cat. We had to pet the kitty. She came say hi. Therefore, she gets pet. There was only one person on the premises licensed to carry Infesticide Ultra, and that was you, Miss Scone. Furthermore, you are acquainted with Miss Bound, the owner of the gallery, meaning you would have had access to the building and ample opportunity to prepare your trap.
No, dear, listen, you don't understand. The Infesticide Ultra was stolen from me.
Lying will only lengthen your sentence, Miss Scone.
I'm not lying. Oh, it's in my bag somewhere. I'm sure of it.
What is she looking for?
That's not it. And that's not it.
That cloth looks familiar.
Ah, here we go. I know it's in here somewhere. Look.
And what is this?
There's something written on it, I think.
April 1st, complaint filed, offense, theft, item stolen, Infesticide Ultra, 1 bottle. It's a crime report relating to a theft.
A what? See, you silly billies, I told you somebody pitched it off me a week ago, no less.
By which you mean to say that it was not in your possession at any point today.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I think the bottle you found might be the one I lost. I've always had some in my medicine bag, just in case, you know. I'm supposed to keep my bag locked up tight, but, well, I forgot my head if I wasn't screwed on. And now, thanks to silly on me, someone's gone and mixed up a cloud of poison gas with the stuff.
I see. Why on earth would you carry such a hazardous substance around with you?
I said, just in case. You never know when one of them might appear. You mean the ghastly little creatures that run around in people's nice, clean kitchens? Type of them? You could just roll up a newspaper and whack, one and done. Psst, Gavel, what do I do now?
Of course. I think perhaps it might be wise to confirm the authenticity of this crime report, just to be safe. It can't hurt to verify Miss Scone's story, after all. She may be lying to us.
Good idea. All right, I'm going to give the precinct a call. Don't go anywhere. So Miss Scone might not be guilty after all.
Indeed. She really were the one who set up the poison gas trap. And I highly doubt she would have used a method that directly implicates her. So who do you think did it, Miles? Someone with knowledge of the victim's likely behavior, and the time and the means to repair. 2 factors would point to one very specific person.
Oh yeah? And who might that be? Don't leave us hanging, big guy.
With the means to steal the Infesticide Ultra and dress one room up to look like another. It has to be her. Surely only Miss Bound, the proprietor of these premises, could possibly be prepared in such a way. We'll need some solid evidence to support such a theory, nonetheless. So it was her, huh? Strange. It seems like he already knew.
Whew, that's shooting, Miles Areno. I have to make that associate position a permanent deal. That is not what I was hoping for.
Thank you for the hydrate, Jay.
I'm back with results. The police have confirmed the theft was really reported and logged. Which means we may have been a little hasty with some of our conclusions, team.
You mean that every single one of your conclusions proved to be hogwash?
No, I mean, we're only just getting started.
Oh, then what's our next move?
Well, first we need to go and talk to Miss Bound.
And then?
And then I'll think about what to do after that.
Eustace, Mr. Gustos, your destination appears to have been the Winter Wing. Perhaps it would be worth having someone investigate the room more thoroughly.
Oh yeah, we should totally do that. Flatfoot, go investigate the Winter Wing.
Yes, sir.
Gavel, we're going to talk to Miss Bound.
Very good, Eustace. We'll join you if you don't mind.
All right, you have your orders. Go talk to Bound for me. Hey, Mr. Winter, weren't we going to talk to Miss Bound ourselves? Sure, but I thought, why not let the grunts handle the grunt work, you know? Means I can just sit back and wait for the report. A winning strategy. You spoiled little... You're so exhausting. I need a break. Huh? There's something in the fountain. Ah, it's a body! What on earth? Order in the court. Somebody call forensics. Bad news, sir. Real bad news. Order. I will have order, detective. The ice sculptures in the winter wing. They've all melted. What? Huh? Say? Can't believe Winter ruined it. What is the meaning of this? Now we have 2 victims? Eesh, talk about deja vu. It's just like 18 years ago. Even the ice melted again. Again? It's like some weird rerun. Same people, same everything. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is no coinkydink. You're with me, right, Miles Areno? I am. And I think the answer lies in the IS-7 incident itself. In fact, I'm convinced of it. Great minds think alike. Alrighty then. Time for another trip down memory lane. I'm gonna eat these gushers while we're saving. I have gushers and I'm happy. I don't have a FRU group, but I've got gushers. That's all that matters. Okay. I still can't believe the IS-7 incident was Gregory's last case, or that it has been 18 long years since. A murder at a confectionery contest, one of the participants no less, Artie Frost, pulled his body out of a treasure chest that was a part of Samson Tangaroa's chocolate tableau. He'd been hit in the head with a large rock-solid lamp, subsequently bled to death. Found the lamp hidden inside the candy castle Delicia Scone had made for the contest. But then, before anyone had the chance to investigate Mr. Frost's own room, all of his icy creations had melted clean away. All of Mr. Frost's work destroyed. Mr. Von Karma wasn't very happy. He told us to get out and in no uncertain terms. So what do we do now, Mr. E? I can't believe he just up and kicked us out. Von Karma's a total jerk. Now, Eddie. It was always the job of the police and the prosecutor's office to investigate the scene. Yeah, but he didn't have to talk to us like that. Who cares if we're cops or attorneys? We should all be working together to find the truth. You can't assume that everybody aims for the same as your own. You may wish to expose the truth, but others might prefer to accept things face value. Which way of thinking is right will depend on the person. What if somebody innocent ends up behind bars because no one managed to uncover the truth? It can happen. We're all human, police and prosecutors included. Which is why defense attorneys exist. Our job is to help people in such situations, just to be friends to the friendless. Friends to the friendless? Now, we may not be able to investigate Mr. Frost's room as hoped. That doesn't mean we give up. You're right, Mr. E. I'm sorry, I should have thought before I opened my big mouth. You're young, Eddie. You'll learn soon enough. I will. I promise. Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Fender, it looks like you could use a little pick-me-up. I'm afraid this is all I have, but Please, by all means. Well, you're the best, Miss Bound. Thank you. A little sugar boost might actually help, although these are a little too sweet for my liking. And a little uniquely shaped. I'm sorry if they're not to your taste. No way, they're great. Thank you. They're so sweet. You're very kind. I imagine me, of all people, a mediocre confectioner. What? You made these yourself? Yes, Samson loves chocolate, so I had to learn. Keeping him supplied with his favorite treats is just one of my many duties. What kind of candies Miss Scone had? Yeah, it's the same kind, yeah. Although he does spend most of the time coaching me on how to improve my technique. Mr. Tangaroa sure is a lucky guy. Getting to eat homemade sweets made by the one and only Judy Bound whatever he wants sounds amazing. I'm sorry, did you say something? No, nothing at all. Dear sweet Eddie, you really do still have a lot to learn. Seems you're quite committed to the work you do, Mr. Tangaroa, Miss Bound. Of course, what would I have to say here otherwise? I mean by that, I was abandoned as a baby. Mr. Tangaroa took me in. That's right. One snowy Christmas Eve many years ago, he found me on the steps of this very mansion. He saved my life and became the father I never had. I can never repay him. So my work for him is the least I could do, and I'll be here for him as long as he needs me. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It's beginning old. I'm welling up a little myself. To think today is Christmas Eve, and I can't even give him his present in person. I'd do anything to save him. Anything. Please, if there's something I could do to help, just say it. We're very grateful, Miss Bound. Perhaps you could help us by answering a question. Did you know the victim? Not very well, I'm afraid. Oh, but if you wanted to see some of his work, I have a picture of the sculptures he made for the final. My, they're stunning. Aren't they? I think they're masterpieces. Who would have thought you could make such intricate statues out of flavored ice? Samson adored them too. Oh hey, that's Taurus and Gemini, right? I didn't know you were keen on constellations in the zodiac, Eddie. Oh, I love it. These stories, those stars could tell. Take Gemini, for example. See the lyre? That's what a harp is called. And the arrow and the... Hold up. The lyre doesn't have any strings. Huh? Did Mr. Frost forget to add them, maybe? That doesn't sound like something he'd forget to do. Wait, really? But I thought you just said he didn't know him very well. Oh, well, he didn't seem like the type. Seems she's got something to hide, too. You took this photograph yourself, Miss Bound? Yes, I used this instant camera here. It develops the pictures as soon as you take them. It's so useful. I'd like to see it in action. Then why don't I take your picture? Yes, come on, Mr. E, let's get a shot of both of us. Well, all right then. It would be a shame to waste a good hair day. Ready? Say cheese. There, all done. And the picture is yours to keep, Mr. Fender. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's such a cool camera. Well, it's the only one we've got, so we use it for all our picture-taking needs. It's very convenient, but the lack of negatives is something of a shame. There aren't any negatives for us to reference, huh? I assume Mr. Tangaroa used the same camera during the contest? Yes, you assumed correctly. He used it for some work-in-progress pictures of his seascape. And later to take some photos of the other contestants' work. But didn't you take a picture of the body when you discovered it? And didn't you discover the body while the judging was still underway? Ah, yes, Samson wanted pictures of all the entrants completed rooms. But the film ran out just as he finished photographing Mr. Gusto's work. So he asked me to go and put in a new cartridge. He seemed to think there should be some more shots left than there were. In other words, the film ran out sooner than expected. It's the number of shots he took didn't line up with the number of shots remaining. But he thought maybe he just lost track somewhere along the way. But had he really though? I went to our living area to change the film and was passing through the fountain room on my way back. when I heard the sound of something break and collapse in Samson's room. Samson, are you in here? Mr. Frost's body was just lying there. I was in total shock. It was all too much. And I remember I called the police and I went to tell everybody else. And the camera, it's been with me ever since. I see. I'd be grateful if you could lend us the camera on this picture, Miss Bound. Of course. Here you go. Thank you. Instant camera. A new film cartridge has 20 exposures, but there are only 3 remaining. And the photo of Mr. Frost's room. Detective Bad, Miss Scone, are they done investigating? They're done with me, that's for certain. The big old medium told me to clear off. Honestly, that mannequins will be the end of me. Cheek of him. Because he got tired of people cluttering up his crime scene. Did he run you off too, Detective Bad? Yeah, Von Karma seems to think I'm a nuisance. Can't do things his way with me around. Mr. Von Karma goes so far as to exclude his own lead detective. Still, I had a plenty good look at the scene. As for Gusto, he's enjoying a nice little chat right now in Frost's room. What about? About the fact that Miss Bound said she saw him going in there during the contest. Mr. Gusto went into Mr. Frost's room? That's right, and I have to say he looked very much like he didn't want to be seen. I don't know what he could have been up to. Well, he's candidate number 1 at the moment as the guy who melted Frost's work. But is that really why Mr. Gusto went into Mr. Frost's room? Got a photo of the room right here if you need it. It's all yours. Wait, what? Why would you just give it to us? Do I gotta spell it out for you, kid? I'm offering to help you guys. I want the truth about this case to come out. Detective. Really, Detective Bad? Mr. Von Karma will be happy about this. Yeah, well, I'm not Von Karma's stooge. If he's gonna stonewall my investigation, then I'm not gonna play by the book either. Can't let some pesky rules keep me from finding the truth. Now, can I, Mr. Edgeworth? Indeed. Thank you, Detective Bad. Wow, I can't believe you won him over, Mr. E. Well, I haven't the foggiest idea what you're all going on about, but here's the new friends, eh? It's definitely nice to have the good detective on our side, that's for sure. Alright, let's take a look at that photograph. Here. This is what the Frost room looks like right now. Yikes, there's nothing left of the flavored ice sculptures but puddles. The floor appears to be completely covered in a pale blue liquid. Let's compare this with the photo I just borrowed from Miss Bound. That unplugged power cord has something to do with all this? Yeah. Once that was out of the socket, and the display cases lost power, and up the temperature went. Looks like they were all connected to the same power strip. Do you have any idea when it was unplugged? Where? Nope, still working on that. These sculptures were beautiful. These sculptures were beautiful. What a waste. You could say that again. I should have taken a few more bites out of them when I had the chance. So they tasted good? So did ever. I never tried anything so scrumptious in my life. Really? Man, I wish I could have had a bite. Well, scrumptious, look, except for the salty bit, of course. That was unbearable. The salty bit? In the other photos you've got there, you spit. The hoppy thing. Gemini's liar? Wait, that's why it had no strings? Because you ate them? I didn't eat that much, you cheeky devil. I told you, it was all horrible and salty. It's interesting that the only particular part of this one particular sculpture tasted different from the rest. Can somebody other than Miss Scone really be responsible for eating the rest of the strings? Did you notice anything else, Miss Scone? Gotta think of it, I did. There was a funny little mark on Shillywink's work. It was 2 little letters. Let me see if I can draw it for you. There we go. Look just like that. It's almost like the signature or something. Wait. I just knew Mr. Frost wouldn't have made that heart without strings. He's not the type to skip an important detail like that. I hope you don't mind me asking, Miss Bound. But are you certain you didn't know Mr. Frost particularly well? What? No, I barely knew him, I swear. Is that so? You certainly seem to have some strong opinions about his work. No, the sculptures are so carefully made, I didn't think he'd miss something so important. Sorry, but I don't believe you. You have more personal connection to his work than that. What makes you say that? I have an item of evidence that appears to have been one of Mr. Frost's possessions. There's a key feature with another piece of evidence. Well, I don't know what you're talking about if you don't share. What are these two pieces of evidence of yours? Or did Mr. Frost? This is the first.
Take that.
And now the second.
Take that.
Miss Scone found two letters carved into Mr. Frost's ice sculptures. I think they were a signature of sorts. After all, it's not unusual for an artist to initial their work. I guess not. That's right, dear. It's just like you said. Chilling statue had the letters PH carved in them plain as day. PH. Shouldn't it be AF? You think so, but take a look at this. It's the seal we found at the crime scene. It seems reasonable to assume that it fell from Mr. Frost's pocket. No impression to the surface of this item, it would produce behind the letters PH. The same pottery mark we see imprinted on the bottom of this items in the tea set. The same pottery mark. We've already established that the tea set is the work of the sculptor Paul Halik. From that, we can assume that these same letters would mark any item out as a piece of his work. A fact of which you are well aware, correct, Miss Bound? Well, yes, I know he always marks his work with his initials like that. He's never revealed his true identity in public, so it's the only way to know his works are truly his. You mean Paul Halik was... That's right, Detective. Artie Frost had another identity. He's no ordinary confectioner, at least... Oh, as far as Miss Bound was concerned. Alright. We got some ad breaks going on. We're going to let that go. I'm going to eat this sour fruit roll-up. Because I have them. They were on sale this week, so I got some sour fruit roll-ups and some gushers. It was a good time to go to the store, that's for sure. I'll tell you that much. Hope you guys are enjoying the games chat. I know, like I said, I'm trying to get through this one as fast as not as fast as I can, but as we go, and then I'll be playing more and more. I'll try to get another action game in for the next game I stream along like this. So, yeah, I do hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I'm also going to go grab some more water. So I will also be right back, chat. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's keep going. We see Mr. Frost was, in fact, a famed sculptor. Mr. Frost was, in fact, none other than the famed sculptor Paul Halik. What? Mr. Frost and Paul Halik were the same person? But it's not like the Mars Heart copy, though. Anyone who's seen it could fake being him with it.
Not exactly can prove it Bruce that Frost was who you say he was. It's proof enough for Miss Bound, which matters is that she believed it. His true identity would have to be investigated by the good people of the precinct. Alright, I'll have the boys look into it. I should have known I couldn't hide it from you, Mr. Edgeworth. So you admit it? You're aware Mr. Frost really was? I was. When I discovered this body, I saw the seal you found. Don't ask me how, but I just knew straight away that he was my dear Paul Halik. Imagine his entries in a confectionery contest were his final legacy. A great man like that. And be honest, did you enter Mr. Frost's room at any point? What? Why are you asking me that? Photograph Mr. Frost's room. I'd like to know where it was taken, when it was taken. Oh, I must have gotten it mixed up with the one Samson took during the judging.
Objection.
I'm afraid I find that rather hard to believe. You said yourself that the camera ran out of film during the judging, and that you've had the charge of the camera since before Mr. Tangaroa had the chance to visit Mr. Frost's room. That's how you were able to take that picture when you discovered Mr. Frost's body. I suppose so. It suggests you only took 2 pictures with the new film. One of Mr. Frost's body and one of his room. But I have a piece of evidence that says otherwise. You do? Which piece of evidence contradicts the assumption that Miss Bond only took 2 pictures?
Take that.
The camera. You gave me the picture of the body and to the police, and the picture of Mr. Frost from me. Oh, and you gave us that picture you took of me and Mr. Edgeworth, too. 3 photographs in total, and yet the film cartridge in this camera only has 3 exposures remaining, out of a total of 20. You took more pictures, and I want to know what of. I'll need to see all the photos you took. Perhaps then we'll finally learn what you were really up to. I'm sorry. I confess, I've been lying to you. Oh, these are all shots of Frost's room. I'm so sorry. Looks like she took the pictures of his work from every possible angle. And when they were taken, the ice still hadn't melted yet. Wait, don't tell me it was you. It was. At least, I'm pretty sure it was. You are? Why? Well, you see, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Halik's work, as you know. I was petrified that they might be ruined with the investigation that was going on and everything. So I thought I should at least capture the sculptures on film for posterity. And how did that make them melt? I think perhaps I was so intent on getting the perfect photographs that I might have tripped over the power cord without noticing. By mistake? Are you sure? I didn't notice it at the time, but, well, how could I have been so careless to cause the loss of his final masterpieces? Seems a little convenient to me. I'm not sure I believe it. But I'm not in a position to refute it either. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. Please, don't worry about it. The important thing is that you told us the truth. What he said. No hard feelings, Miss Bound. Thank you. Mr. Edgeworth. Picture's yours. Hope it helps. Are you infernal nuisances still here? You don't know when to give up. Linger for as long as you like. The answer's the same. You are not part of this investigation. Whether we're part of it or not, we'll uncover the truth nonetheless. It seems you don't know when to shut up either, but I commend you on your stubbornness. Mr. Von Karma, I am afraid I'm the one responsible for Mr. Frost's work melting. What? What is the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. And to you, Mr. Gusto. No concern of mine. I didn't do anything, and Mr. Von Karma agrees. Nothing at all, Mr. Gusto. You went into Mr. Frost's room, didn't you? Perhaps you could tell us why. Sure, it was. I was. Silence. You are not to give the attorney even the tiniest shred of information. Judy Bound, you are coming with me. I have reason to believe that you are an accomplice of the accused, Samson Tangaroa. No, I will be interrogating you personally. You'd better get your story in order.
I understand.
Wait, please. I'm not done questioning her myself. And you think I killed because? Bad, Gusto, and you, Scone. I have questions for all of you, and I expect answers. Fine by me.
Oh, you could be such nicely mannequins.
He took literally everyone with him. Indeed. I suppose there's a little point in us hanging around either. Perhaps it's time we get going anyway. It is rather late. I hope the snow has let up.
You're right, home time.
Huh? Guess my stomach's in agreement, too. Alright, let's go grab a burger. Before my own stomach starts grumbling, too.
Sounds good to me. Let's eat up and rest up. We'll need to be fighting fit for tomorrow.
We will indeed. Our first point of call will be with Mr. Tangaroa.
Hey, it's Miss Bound. Oh, hello, Mr. Fender. Mr. Edgeworth. I'm so sorry about what happened yesterday.
She looks rather tired.
Has Mr. Von Karma finished interrogating you? Yes, though he really only seemed interested in how I melted those sculptures. Are you here to see Mr. Tangaroa, too? Yes, I'm terribly worried about him.
Detective Bat, what are you doing back there?
Oh, just happened to be here. I'll be heading back to the scene soon.
Not sure how anyone just happens to be at a attention center, but okay.
Good morning. Mr. Tangaroa, what happened to you? Oh no, Samson, what did they do to you? They didn't seem to want to let me sleep. I had no idea interrogations could be so involved. Sorry if I seem distracted. I think I'm a little tired.
They're not letting you sleep?
That's not police work, that's torture. What's going on here, Detective Bad? I'm not the one doing the interviewing. It's the guy that put on the case before me. I like Von Karma's method about as much as you do, which is why I'm doing what I can to help. It was Detective Bad who got me out of there. I'd still be in that interrogation room right now, if it weren't for him. Oof.
Bad really is trying to look out for Mr. Tangaroa in his own way, it seems. Alright, Eddie. Let's share yesterday's fighting with Mr. Tangaroa.
You got it, Mr. E. My notepad is at the ready.
Mr. Tangaroa, we found out quite a bit if you'd like to hear it.
Of course. Thank you.
Are you alright, Mr. Tangaroa? You seem kinda spaced out.
I'm fine. I think my blood sugar might be running a little low.
Oh, Samson. Do you have anything that might give him a little energy boost?
Huh? Is that chocolate for me?
Oh, those are the chocolates I wish I could just give them to you, Mr. Tangaroa. But the rules here don't exactly allow me to do so.
Oh, that's a shame, but rules are rules, I suppose.
There must be some way we can hand them to him. Detective Bad is noting the meaningful look in his direction.
Let me take a look at them. If they seem legit, I might consider passing them on to the suspect.
Thank you, Detective Bad.
My hero. I'm touched. Thank you, Detective. Yeah, whatever. Just sit tight. Here. You don't know how much this means to me. Yeah, keep it down, will you? Both our sakes. Of course, Detective, I wouldn't wish to put your livelihood at risk. Sample these treats.
Detective, I apologize for you putting you in a tight spot.
Didn't do it for you.
It was my call. Guess you're not such a bad guy after all. Oh, the sweetness. I feel like a man reborn. Ha ha! Were they your handiwork, Judy?
Yes, how were they?
Feel them melt. Soft and smooth. Chocolate that'll comfort and soothe. I can't do this. You guys are on your own with this. I'm not. I physically refuse to do this. Delicious. They're not exactly beautiful, but they're sweet and oh so flavorful. Thank you, Judy.
I'm so glad you like them.
And I'm glad you're back to your old self. My apologies, friends. Food they serve here is just so flavorless. Between that and the lack of sleep, I was about ready to collapse from sheer despair.
Wow, is the food here really all that bad?
Just the usual French fries, ham sandwich, stuff like that. Yes, and yet I couldn't taste a thing. Anyway, I'm heading back to the scene. Before you go, Detective, do you have any new information to share? Oh yeah, you were right about the victim's identity. Frost worked as a sculptor in France, where he was known as Paul Halique.
Artie Frost was Paul Halique. I never would have imagined. Poor Mr. Halique.
So the famous French sculptor wasn't a Frenchman after all, huh? So it would be certainly unexplained why Mr. Halique was such a recluse and refused to show his face in public. He was busy working on his greatest masterpiece, apparently. Bunch of Zodiac statues. Guess he'll never finish them now.
He never finished his greatest masterpiece.
Another raid? Man, fuck you, Blades. Welcome in. Hey, seems like he was making statues for each season. Welcome in, Blades. How was FRU, you dumb cunt? Almost had a clean pull on it. Nice. Well, welcome in, everybody. I'm just doing some more Ace Attorney. Hope you all enjoy what's going on here. The voices suck, so I hope you're ready for it. My voice acting is not great, but I'm working, you know. Gotta give voice to it. You know, it's not exactly something fun if you don't have the voices to go with it, right? Did I move that? I did move it a bit. Hold on. There we go. But I never got around to the winter constellations.
The winter constellations, you mean? Taurus and Gemini?
So the two he made out of ice would have completed the set.
Yeah, and now they're nothing but puddles. What a bummer. I'm so sorry. Oh no, Miss Bound, I wasn't blaming you.
One last thing. Seems he had himself a bit of a spending habit when it came to his work. Every statue cost him millions to make. Which means he was always strapped for cash. We're checking to see if there's any chance someone called in a debt.
I guess not even famous artists are safe from their money problems.
Do you have any idea why he entered the confectionery contest? None. God didn't even tell his family. I see. Alright, I really gotta get going. I'll go fetch another guard, but I can't be hanging around here any longer. Understood, Detective. I'll see you again shortly. He's a good man. He certainly is. And an uncompromising one. Somebody who can be trusted to stand up for what he believes in.
And to scare the pants off anybody he knew he meets.
Now, you were going to tell me about what you learned yesterday. Of course, allow me to give you a full report. Thank you for that. And allow me to apologize on Judy's behalf.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine, Mr. Tangaroa. As I told her yesterday, the important thing is that we learn the truth in the end. Now, would you mind if I asked you a question or two? By all means, I'll gladly share all I can. What can you tell me about the contestants who took part in the final round of the contest? Let's see. There was Miss Scone. I loved her design concept. Unfortunately, her entry was in violation of the rules, so I had to disqualify her. Mr. Gusto's creations were a perfect balance of flavor and design, at least up through the semifinal. But disappointingly, his entry for the final was subpar on both counts. And there was actually something a little unusual about his entry for the semifinal as well. Which was, it tasted identical to Mr. Frost's. They may have looked different, but I could have sworn I was eating the same thing. Huh? And what exactly did his work look like? Oh, there should be a photograph back in my mention.
I'll show it to you later, Mr. Edgeworth.
Much appreciated, Miss Bound. But Mr. Frost's entry for the finals, that was truly sublime. So you were able to finish judging it? Even though his body had been discovered in the meantime? Yes, I wasn't aware of what happened until after I had completed my assessment. Mr. Frost wasn't in his room when I visited, so I took the liberty of sampling a bit. Part of the lyre, I believe. I'd never tasted anything like it. It was a dream. I was so moved that I burst into song. I'm sorry, are you saying that the lyre tasted good? I'd like to hear more about that if you don't mind. You're quite sure it was the lyre you tasted when you sampled Mr. Frost's work? I'm certain of it. It was part of the Gemini sculpture, which was the only sculpture that was in that display case. Mr. Tangaroa, would you mind taking a look at this photograph for me? So the part you tried was the lyre, the one shown here without any strings? Oh, there were strings originally. That was the part I ate. The strings were missing because Mr. Tangaroa ate them all. And he enjoyed them? Mrs. Scone told us she ate a very part of the lyre as well. But she said it was far too salty for her to finish. Then it's true. The truth is, I've suspected for a while that there might be something wrong with my sense of taste. Something wrong? How so exactly? There's a taste disorder characterized by an inability to detect salty flavors. And I suspect I've been suffering from it. I eat so many sweet foods on a daily basis that it took me a while for me to even notice. But there's no denying it now. That would explain why the food here seemed so bland to him. What? But your taste buds are your livelihood! Even if there was some long-term treatment option, I highly doubt a total cure for your condition exists. Nevertheless, you should put in a request to the police for a proper evaluation. Oh, that won't be necessary. I have a recipe for a cure back in my mansion. You do? I do. You could take a look at it for yourself if you like.
Samson, we can't show that recipe to just anybody.
Judy, Mr. Edgeworth is hardly just anybody. He's my attorney, and I have no secrets from him.
Yes, you're right, of course. If that's what you wish.
What on earth is this secret recipe for a miracle cure they've been hiding?
Well, I suppose I should be getting back.
All right, we'll be right behind you. Judy.
Yes, Samson?
There's more to life than just me. Please, Judy, think about the life you want to live. Because I won't always be around.
Don't say that. Without you, I don't have a life to live. So I'll be waiting right here at the mansion until you come home. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Wait, Miss Bound! Judy.
Whoa, she seemed really upset. I thought I saw tears in her eyes. Why'd you even say all that to her?
Because I worry about her. She can't keep putting my needs ahead of her own.
What do you mean?
The Halik collection, the candy making. It's all because she thinks these things will make me happy. She never thinks about what she wants, what she likes. I just want her to be her own person and to choose her own destiny. The last thing I want is for her to miss out on all that life has to offer because of me.
I guess that makes sense.
He really does see her as his own child. What parent wouldn't want the child to walk their own path? And what parent wouldn't do everything they could to protect them? I know exactly how he feels in this moment. I think I've asked you of you everything I can for now, Mr. Tangaroa. We should be getting back to the scene of the crime. Oh, you're leaving? I see. I suppose I'll be going back to the interrogation room for another session. Ah yes, we'll have to do something about that. You'll speak to the police for me? That too. I'll be putting something else in place as well. It is up our sleeve for when the time comes. I look forward to learning more. I'm counting on you, Mr. Edgeworth. We'll be back to brief you, Mr. Tangaroa, every day. And Jody, too. Thank you, Eddie. I look forward to it. Mr. Tangaroa, your interrogator will do everything in his power to extract confession from you. I hate to see an innocent man suffer like this. But please, you have to do everything you can to hold out. If you can't, Mr. Von Karma will use that confession against you for as long as the case lasts. And it will make it that much harder for me to save you. I understand, and I'll try. I won't give up until you're out of there, Mr. Tangaroa. You have my word on that. Detective Matt, thank you again for what you did earlier. Yeah, thanks a ton. What are you talking about? There's no need to be shy about it. Just never mind that now. I'm guessing you two are back here looking to investigate some more. We are indeed. We'll need something solid if we're to save Mr. Tangaroa. Well, I hate to break it to you, but apart from this room, the whole place is on lockdown. Why? We need to see those other rooms. This is Mr. Von Karma's doing, I presume? Who else? I haven't seen the autopsy report yet either. Guy's probably got a hand in that too. And don't expect to speak with anybody except us cops and Miss Bound. Everybody else is gone. And now Von Karma will be handing out phone numbers. Is this all just a game to him? Why does he have to go so far? So what's your plan of action, Detective? Same as before. Do what I can to help you uncover the truth, like I promised. You have my gratitude. Just you wait, Mr. Von Karma. We're gonna beat you and your bag of dirty tricks. Detective, maybe we can conduct a brief investigation of the area? Sure, but like I said, everywhere else is off bounds. You probably won't be seeing those rooms again. That's fine. As long as there is at least some way of continuing our investigation, we'll make do. Seems these instruments are used by Mr. Tangaroa and Miss Bound's TV show, Bacon Pop. Some of the few things in here that aren't made of candy. Is it just me, or does the detective seem a little disappointed? It's always interesting to see Mr. Bad, or Detective Bad do things. He's a liar here, and some Maraca is designed to look like ice cream cones. So what made it it's hard to tell what's candy and what's not just by looking. I'd reach out and touch them, but then I'd be disturbing the crime scene. Hands off. I already checked them out. They're real. Check them out how exactly? Do you mean you manhandle vital evidence, Detective? I didn't touch them. Not with my hands, at least. Did he? Never mind. I don't want to picture it. Miss Bound, we're here to continue our investigation. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm sorry about earlier. She's still looking kinda down in the dumps, Mr. E. She must have been greatly taken aback by what Mr. Tangaroa had to say. I found the photograph of the semifinal entries for you. Here, it's all yours. Wow. Miss Scone sure knows how to make a cute cake. Yeah, Samson left her design for that one.
But he loved the designs and flavors of Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost entries too. Only problem was, as Samson mentioned earlier, they tasted exactly the same. However, their respective entries for the final tasted nothing alike, it seems. Was there anything else of note that changed between the semi-final and the final? Nothing major, but I guess there was one thing. Mr. Gusto's son was always here with him and throughout the contest, but he was nowhere to be seen during the final. Would his son come and hang out at the contest venue of all places? You sure you're happy for us to keep hold of this? Of course. I hope it helps with your investigation. Oh, and I also have the book containing the recipe for the cure Samson mentioned. We've seen this book before. It was in the chocolate frame. It was in the chocolate frame in Tangaroa's room. That's right. He put it on display there so that everybody could see the grand prize. What? The cure is in the ultimate cookbook? So it's not a book of dessert recipes, I take it. Oh no, we told the contestants, of course. But I guess nobody told you yet. So the contestants all knew what the ultimate cookbook was the whole time. I'd like to hear more about the cookbook if you don't mind, Miss Bound. So if I understand correctly, the Ultimate Cookbook is actually a collection of recipes for different medicines? Exactly, or rather, totally new medications that haven't made it to market yet, to be precise. To the right buyer, a pharmaceutical company, for example, it would be worth a fortune. But Bob made the grand prize in a confectionery contest. Mr. Tangaroa is the sole heir of the Tangaroa family fortune. Perhaps you've heard of the Tangaroa Group? The Tangaroa Group? Yeah, I think I've heard of them somewhere before. It's a major pharmaceutical corporation. Sells all kinds of pills and poisons. Oh yeah, the new Cold Killer Pro has been making some real waves since it went on sale. I always reach for a cold killer when I'm under the weather. Which is never as far as I've seen. I'd like to hear more about the Tangaroa Group if you don't mind. So did Mr. Tangaroa not want to take over for his parents and go into the family business? No, he preferred the idea of making people's lives better through the power of confectionery. And his parents supported him in his quest to become the best in the world. Then, when he passed away, he inherited the cookbook. But why would he make such a valuable heirloom a mere contest prize? He's been hounded by so many people looking to make that book their own. He was tired of it. But it would have been an insult to his parents' memory to simply give it away. So he decided to find somebody he felt was worthy of it. I'll bet the board of directors love that. Handing over the fruits of all their expansive research to someone else. They hated the idea, of course. Which is why Delicia entered the contest. The Tangaroa Group wanted her to win the book back for them. So you knew she was a pharmacist all along? Yes, and not only that, I told her how to appeal to Samson's tastes. I tried to help her win. But why? I wanted to protect Samson by protecting the Tangaroa Group. If that cookbook fell into another company's hands, the board would never forgive him. So I wanted to find a way to keep it with the company, but in a way that Samson couldn't object to. So that's how Miss Skill managed to make it so far in a contest she had no business taking part in. But Miss Scone wasn't the only one pretending, was she? Mr. Frost wasn't really a confectioner either. Thank you for the hydrate, Jay. Take care of that right now. Alright. And he still made it all the way to the final, just like she did. Not bad. Yes. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Such a talented sculptor and a gifted crafter of desserts, too. Gifted indeed, judging by the standard of his work in the final. How did one man produce pieces of that size and quality in such a short period of time? I'm not sure I have much more to tell you. But if there's anything else I can help you with, I'd be happy to, of course. She's certainly very keen to ensure that she does all she can for Mr. Tangaroa. I could certainly use a cup of the tea you made us yesterday, if you wouldn't mind. I think that might help move the investigation along nicely. Oh, I'll have some too. Your tea is to die for, Miss Bound. Well, how can I possibly refuse? I'll bring it right out. You know, I think she had cheered her up a little. I gotta check these. The statue's only found in Nibbit cherubs enjoying some chocolate fondue. All the leaks work, apparently. And I hand it to him. They look so real. Detective, are you saying you have personally seen cherubs before? Attorneys, always poking holes in people's words.
What did I do something wrong? Excuse me, may I ask you what you're investigating? Sir, I am analyzing the fountain water to see what might be in it, sir. And what did you find? Chocolate and what looks like the kind of flavorings and colorings used in frozen desserts, sir. The composition of the chocolate seemed to be the same as that of Mr. Tangaroa's work. And the flavorings and colorings match the profile of those used in Mr. Frost's ice sculptures. Those little rivers flow from all 4 artists' rooms right here to this fountain. Guess that's how the stuff from the melted sculptures wound up in there. That's not all, sir. We also found blood. What? Why is there blood in the water? Think back to our investigation of the murder scene, Detective. Take another look at the scene in front of us, Detective. A very conspicuous pool of blood that should be here is clearly missing. You're right. Don't remember any muddy mention in there. Removed the blood along with the body. The victim's blood was mysteriously absent, as was the part of the chocolate chest it had pooled on. I believe that the blood probably belonged to...
Take that.
The victim, huh? I'll have the guy compare it with the blood on the murder weapon. It's a match. The blood in the fountain is Frost's. Why would someone want to send the victim's blood downstream and into the fountain like this? We've learned a little more about the contestants' participants. But there's some one question involving Mr. Gusto for which we've never got an answer. Nothing at all, Mr. Gusto? You went into Mr. Frost's room, didn't you? Perhaps you could tell us why? Sure, I was. Silence! You are not to give the attorney even a tiniest shred of information. What was he doing in Mr. Frost's room? And that's not all. Also a question about the work he submitted for the semifinals. A confectioner who admits to lacking design sense and a sculptor with it in spades. Mr. Gusto could not have hoped to win such a high-level contest by himself. Which is why I'm beginning to wonder if there was some sort of connection between him and Mr. Frost. Detective, I need to ask Mr. Gusto a few more questions. His story still doesn't quite add up to me. Me neither. We need to figure out how to get in touch with him. Oh, do you now? Oh, do you now? Good luck with that, because I have no intention of allowing it. Mr. Von Karma, I am already in the midst of my own investigation into Gusto. So there is no need for the likes of you to pester him with the same questions again. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I will, however, be happy to answer any questions you might have. Seems dead on set I'm inviting me to talk to Mr. Gusto. In which case, fine then, allow me to take you up on your offer. Very well, what is it? I'd like you to tell me about the connection between Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost. The connection between Gusto and Frost? It was simply a matter of coincidence. They both happened to be taking part in the same contest. And that's all? Phew. That is all I have to say to you. What? But that doesn't help us at all. But to confront him with evidence if we want to draw the truth out of him. And it's imperative that we do. He's clearly hiding something.
Hold it.
Yes, there must have been a connection of some kind. And if you would cease your baseless interruptions, I will happily tell you what it is. If this were a courtroom, I would have you removed for contempt. Isn't that solely the judge's purview? Yeah. A Judge Von Karma would probably have dancing to his tune. What? Even judges are scared of him? It'll be an easy trial, that's for sure. Please, Mr. Von Karma, continue.
Hold it.
Granted, it may have simply been a coincidence that they both entered the same competition, but that doesn't rule out a connection of some other kind between the two of them. I do hate to repeat myself, but if you do not have any pertinent evidence, then kindly keep your mouth shut. Guess I'll just do as he says for now. At least until I find the evidence that proves Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost connection. Still, the look on your eyes speaks volumes. Oh, go on then. What are you trying to say? Your mind, will you? Should I keep my mouth shut or not? Mr. Von Karma is keen to keep us away from the truth, which means the truth must be inconvenient to him somehow, right? So Mr. Roth had something in common. I need to present that thing that I shared to Mr. Von Karma. It was...
Objection.
I wonder if you could look at the two confections in the foreground for me, Mr. Von Karma. They are made from the contest semifinal. Both are quite exquisitely crafted, wouldn't you agree? Oof, get to that point. As the nameplate suggests, these were Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost's entries. Mr. Gusto told us that confectionery design was far from his strong suit. And yet his work in the picture is just as good as Mr. Frost's. Exactly as good, in fact. We learned from another witness that the two entries also tasted exactly the same. What are you suggesting? I am suggesting that they were helping one another out. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Well, at first glance, the two may appear to be superficially different. It soon becomes apparent that there are significant similarities in how they were put together. They are made of the same ingredients, taste the same, and share a similar design aesthetic. This picture is proof positive that the two were working together. If you figured out that much, I suppose there's no point in denying it. Mr. Von Karma knew all along that they were cooperating. But I'll warn you, none of what you're about to hear will be to your advantage. Let me confirm what you so desperately proved. True. Gusto and Frost were indeed working together. Gusto spelled out the details of his relationship to Frost during his questioning last night. It seems they were helping one another right up until the day before the final. So, you knew the two were cooperating? Mr. Von Karma, why are you trying to bury the truth? Please, enough with the petty slander. I merely wanted to avoid you poking your nose around before I could provide proper context in court. It simply slipped my mind to explain that to you. This doesn't explain why he's so slippery with the facts, though. I need to figure out what he is hiding. I can't let things end like this. God, I had to drink a lot for some of these voices, man, I tell you. Really hit. Oh, ads are starting. Perfect. Gives me plenty of time to sit back and drink a bit. Whew. A lot of water drank. Good. But I hope everyone's having a good time tonight. Go for about another hour. Then we'll call it good. We'll see how things rock. Ugh. Whew. All right, and break is just finishing up. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're about to start pressing Mr. Von Karma about some of this information. Let's get started. Okay.
Hold it.
So you did know that there was a connection between the two. Why were you trying to hide it?
Tisk, tisk, tisk. I don't just hand out information like candy, and certainly not to the defense. Not like that lollipop nursing food of a detective over there.
You do things your way, and I'll do them mine.
And you wonder why I refuse to share information with a traitor like you.
The details of his relationship to the Frost during his questioning last night.
Hold it.
Last night, after Mr. Frost's work melted, correct?
Yes, I interviewed Gusto personally.
Yeesh, one-on-one with Mr. Von Karma. Must have been terrifying. I imagine Mr. Gusto probably meditated his way through the difficult parts.
He most certainly did not every time he closed his eyes. I brought him back with an almighty snap. No one dares plead to plead the fifth with me.
Did it even work on him?
And that is how I was able to perfectly learn every last detail of Gusto and Frost's relationship.
Hold it.
But why were they cooperating?
Gusto's sense of design is subpar, and Frost was an amateur confectioner at best. Neither of them stood a chance of making it through the contest alone.
What was their endgame? Why cooperate only until the day before the finals?
Gusto claims to have ended the scheme. Allegedly, he wanted to win the final on his own merits. His one and only goal, really, was to be crowned the world's best confectioner. And his pride would not allow him to do so with the help of another.
Cheaters can only ever win hollow victories, I guess. I was under the impression that their collaboration only lasted through the semifinals. But I'm starting to think it might have lasted up through the finals itself. Mr. Von Karma, I'd like to ask you some more about how long they worked together for, if you don't mind.
If you'd bust.
Ron Frost was an amateur confectioner at best.
Hold it.
You ask. I'm not objecting to your characterization of Mr. Gusto's design sense.
Yeah, he admitted himself he isn't all that great. He made what he alleged to be a likeness of me. Just thinking of the abomination came out with turns in my stomach.
Yeah, I kinda like the guy's work.
An artistically rich amateur and an artistically impoverished professional. In a way, it was inevitable that they would wind up working together.
Hold it.
You really believe that they were cooperating until the day before the finals, and then just simply stopped? This is a little strange to me, wouldn't you agree?
I had told you the truth. Whether you find it strange is not my concern.
I was concerned enough to try to hide it from me only a few minutes ago, though. It means there must have been a reason for that. So Mr. Tangero's assessment, it sounded as if Mr. Raw's entry to the final was the clear winner.
Which means he must have been working with Mr. Gusto, right?
That's precisely what I was thinking. I must have some evidence that proves that they were cooperating right through the finals. My only thought can be the pictures here. Let's try it.
Objection.
It was not the statues. You can always tell if you chose the wrong option if the bar doesn't go away up top when you choose something. Let's see. Wasn't in the book. Let's go ahead and save here. We have a few different options. We'll try it. Alright.
Objection.
That was my next guess. Cool. Wasn't sure. We're working together during the finals. I find it a little hard to believe. Miss Scone is on record having seen described Mr. Frost's creations as scrumptious. And while he was certainly skilled, I doubt even he could have become a world-class confectioner overnight. It seems more and more likely that he and Mr. Gusto were still cooperating during the finals. How many times must I explain this to you? Assumptions require proof, and one person's entirely subjective statement is not proof at all of anything. Since even amateurs can occasionally make delicious food. Perhaps Frost was simply lucky. My wife, for example, is an amateur whose cooking puts first-class chefs to shame. How is that an entirely subjective statement? Furthermore, you are ignoring another crucial part of the pharmacist's testimony. I mean that she also described some of Mr. Frost's work as to having been unbearably salty. In other words, your evidence actually shows that Frost failed to produce the perfect confectionery. Disc. No more objections, I take it. Must be some way I can prove that Gusto and Frost were still collaborating. Mr. E, there's something that's been on my mind. Yes, what is it, Eddie? Mr. Frost's entry for the finals. Wouldn't it have taken a while to make? I would imagine so. Making flavored water, freezing it all, and then carving 2 whole sculptures? Could he really have done all that and helped Mr. Gusto with his work? If it was me, I'd have barely gotten as far as setting the flavored water up to freeze part. I just can't see how Mr. Frost could have pulled it off. Perhaps there's some lawyerly instinct in you after all, Eddie. Your ponderings certainly point to another possibility. Eddie's right. Mr. Frost would have needed to freeze his own large box of flavored ice to create his art. And then there would have been no time to do that during the contest itself. So what must Mr. Frost have done in order to finish his flavored ice entry within the time limit? It wasn't made out of flavored ice at all. Maybe it was Mr. Scone simply has strong teeth that she was able to crunch through whatever it was. No, that doesn't make any sense. Now on the day of the contest, so you ate the day before. Made the flavored ice the day before. Then all he would have to do was sculpt it. What are you muttering about now? Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized something. That's all. I realized that you're correct. What? Mr. E? I hope you know what you're doing. Or accepting defeat at last, are we? Yeah. The only thing I'm accepting is that perhaps one of the things you said was true. They were helping each other right up until the day before the final. Just as you said, the day before the final really did mark the end of their collaboration. Mr. Frost's entry was carved entirely from blocks of flavored ice. Ice which would have needed at least a day to freeze. And those flavors would therefore have already been prepared by Mr. Gusto. Whew. Yes, which lines up perfectly with what Gusto told me, that he helped Frost until the day before the final. In that case, why didn't Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto in return? I can hardly be expected to read the minds of the dead. Perhaps not, but I imagine Mr. Gusto could tell us, so why don't you let us speak with him? Or do you still insist your interrogation was as thorough as you claim? How dare you call my methods into question? That's not my intention. I just don't understand why you would obstruct a perfectly valid line of inquiry. Give me one good reason as to why you're keeping Mr. Gusto from me. One good reason? Certainly. How and why of Frosty and Gusto's collaboration have absolutely no bearing on his case. How can you possibly say that with any certainty? And their relationship had broken down for some reason. That could very well have been the motive behind the murder. Could it indeed? Then why did Gusto himself tell me all about it? Why did the man you seem so keen on accusing share the detail of his collaboration with the prosecution? Please tell me you have some proof to back up your preposterous suspicion this time.
Mr. Gusto only acted suspiciously one time that we know of. I imagine Mr. Von Karma is aware of exactly what that suspicious action was. Which means this is probably a trap.
Well, can't got your tongue.
Even if this is a trap, I can't back down now. Mr. Gusto snuck into Mr. Frost's room, and we still don't know why. That fact alone is reason enough to suspect him.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. If that is your only concern, then allow me to clear it up for you.
I knew it. It was a trap.
I was saving this for the trial, but consider it a taste of things to come. Plus, I'd hate to further proceedings with Dragon because you'll need this interjection. Here, take a look at this. That's Gusto and Frost and their sons. Gusto snuck into Frost's room in order to retrieve this photograph. But why? It seems their sons attended the same elementary school. Gusto was concerned about the fact that Mr. Frost and his acquaintance might place him under undue suspicion. A concern that you have just proved us entirely well-founded. Gusto's actions make perfect sense and you have given me no reason to believe otherwise.
He's never going to let me talk to Mr. Gusto.
Now, if you are quite done with obstructing my investigation, I have things to be getting on with. That smug, self-righteous jerk, I'll give you something to get on with. What do we do, Mr. E? Mr. Tangero's finished if we can't figure something out.
Things to be getting on with. What could those things be? He has a body, a murder weapon, and a suspect in custody. The prosecution means to pursue Mr. Tangaroa. Surely they have all they need. So why is Mr. Von Karma still investigating the scene of the crime?
Something on your mind, Mr. E?
We're missing something. Something important. Mr. Von Karma has everything he needs to pursue the prosecution of Mr. Tangaroa. And yet, he still doesn't seem entirely confident of his case. If he was, why refuse to share information with Detective Bat? Who else? I haven't seen the autopsy report yet either. Guy's probably got a hand in that too. In addition, we still haven't solved the mystery of what happened to the evidence went missing. Take another look at the scene in front of us, detective. A very conspicuous pool of blood that should be here. It's clearly missing. You're right. Don't remember none of them might have mentioned they'd removed bloody low in the body. That turned up not in Mr. Tangero's room, but in a most unusual place. To match the blood in the fountain is Frost. There was no traces of Mr. Frost's blood left in Mr. Tangero's room, and yet we found some of the fountain instead. Why? Mr. Frost's blood was missing from the crime scene. The traces of it showed in the fountain. Why go to the trouble of removing the blood from the scene after the body had been discovered? And why only the blood? Surely the body would have been in the way. Wait, could someone have moved the body aside to get to the blood? Body might have been moved aside, or even removed from the scene of the crime entirely. After all, as far as we know, there's still no autopsy report. We've learned plenty about the murder weapon and suspect, but very little about the body itself. Our assumption thus far has been that the body had been recovered by the forensics team. What if that assumption is false? What if Mr. Von Karma wouldn't show Detective Bat the autopsy report as something other than spite? What if we've been thinking about this the wrong way all along? The question isn't why did Von Karma hold back the information about the body? It's did Mr. Von Karma even have any information about the body in the first place? How do things look from that angle? Perhaps the body hadn't been removed by the police in order to carry out the autopsy. So it had already been removed and hidden away by the culprit before their arrival. Mr. E? We both heard the rumors about Mr. Von Karma's questionable methods.
Fabricated witness statements, shady deals, forged evidence even. Sure, everybody's heard of that stuff. But what's that got to do with us right now? I would never judge a person on the basis of rumors alone. Even Mr. Von Karma, I try my best not to let preconceptions color our interactions with him. Nonetheless, it appears he may indeed be willing to twist the truth to his own ends. Twist the truth? You mean he's been playing dirty? Or he might have been, and still is. I'm not about to let him get away with it. I'm returning to the prosecutor's office. Don't breathe a word about anything to that infernal attorney. Yes, sir.
Hold it.
Yes, what is it now? I have a few questions, Mr. Von Karma, about a certain fact you've been keeping from us. Really, you mean to call the vessels of an officially sanctioned investigation into question yet again? I'm warning you, if you obstruct the police in their work in any further, there will be no consequence. There will be consequences.
Objection.
It's not an issue I have with me, with the police. I have an issue with Mr. Von Karma. It's you. What? On the prosecution to work out who the real culprit of the crime is. What foolishness is this? I have no intention of debating what the prosecution's role is or is not with the likes of you. But let me make one thing very clear. My job is to identify suspects and ensure that every last one of them is convicted at all costs. Believe me when I say, I have leave absolutely no room for doubt when I present my perfect, unassailable cases.
Objection.
And how far would you go for your perfect case? Would you create facts out of cold cloth, perhaps? Sorry about that, guys. Had a cough. Ha! And I thought you had outdone yourself, did he? But now you intend to accuse me of fabricating evidence? I do. Because it is why you've done nothing but hinder Detective Bad from doing his job at every turn. What are you talking about? You didn't shut him out of the investigation because you wanted him to keep an eye on us. You did it to stop him from finding out that you don't have the body. What? He doesn't have the body? Ridiculous, you're clutching at straws. I will tolerate no more of your preposterous slander. And allow us to examine it. Prove me wrong, if you can. I'm afraid you'll have to try a little harder than that. I am under no obligation whatsoever to prove their baseless accusations one way or another.
Objection.
As you must have seen for yourself, a piece of bloodied chocolate is missing from the scene of the crime. Why did it disappear? And where did it go? What does it matter? Some blood went missing from the chest where the body was found. So what? So what indeed? That's precisely my question. If the body was still at the scene when the police got there, removing the blood would accomplish nothing. However, let us suppose for a moment that the body was not. Someone had not wanted to erase any trace of what had happened in that room, then it all makes perfect sense. What is this petty obsession with the bloodstain? But since it's so important to you, why don't you tell me what you believe it with? Of course, after all, evidence is everything, as you never tire telling us. I believe this should back up my theory quite nicely.
Take that.
The traces of the victim's blood were found in the fountain, along with traces of the chocolate from Mr. Tangaroa's room. I believe the missing piece of blood-stained chocolate was dumped onto the stream that flows to the fountain. It strongly points toward this one certain fact. Someone purposefully disposed of the blood after the body had been removed from the chest. Mr. Von Karma, where did you find the body? You didn't find it, did you? Answer me! When did you get your hands on that kind of evidence? If neither the authority nor the means to carry out that kind of analysis on the fountain water. No, but I do. Curse you, Bad! You better throw in my sight from the moment you were assigned. Well, no longer, as of now you're officially off the case. I was barely on it in the first place. Mr. Von Karma, you still haven't answered my question. Will you admit it? Will you confirm that no body was ever recovered? Tisk. Isn't it quite that claim, you know? One of that you'll never find any proof for, I'm afraid. To get an answer out of him. Now, if you don't mind, I have given you enough of my precious time already. I look forward to destroying you in court, Gregory Edgeworth. Your precious logic and theories won't save you then. Nothing will. Mark my words, Mr. Von Karma, your methods will be your undoing. No matter how you try to hide the truth, I'll bring it all to the light in the end. Forgive me, Detective. I didn't mean to put you in a difficult position. Don't sweat it. It was always going to end this way. Honestly, nobody's ever sidelined me the way he did before. First time for everything, huh? Well, no, I think you might be right about the body being missing. I am, and I'll prove it in court. Well, if there's anything I can do to help, just say the word. It's, I'm off the case now. That's very kind, and I'm sorry to keep asking favors of you, Detective Bad, but there is one more thing. Hey, what are you guys whispering about? Come on, let me in on the secret. All right, Eddie. The detective and I were just arranging a little insurance for the trial. I think we have enough to see Mr. Tangaroa acquitted. But I prefer to keep an ace in the hole, just in case. And what is it? You'll find out in the courtroom. Wait, what? You're letting me join you? Of course I am. You are my assistant, after all. Ha! I'll be more than that by next year. I'll be a full-fledged attorney, you know. And we could take down Mr. Von Karma together. Indeed. Though I'm hoping we'll have freed Mr. Tangaroa by then. But if we're up against Mr. Von Karma, I guess we can't rule out the possibility that this might take some time. Right. We'll do everything we can in the meantime. I know you can beat Mr. Von Karma, Mr. E. I believe in you. We can't allow Mr. Tangaroa to remain in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And we won't. I'll expose Mr. Von Karma's lies if it's the last thing I do. And that's pretty much how things went down. Those are the facts of IS-7 as far as I'm concerned. I'm learning the truth about my father's last case. So what happened at the trial? Well, we lost. Von Karma did a real number on us. Really? You couldn't prove that Mr. Tangaroa was innocent? Oh, we could prove it all right. Had a decent little pile of evidence in our favor. Problem was, we underestimated Von Karma. He fought even dirtier than we'd feared. I can imagine. Securing a conviction at all costs, that was always his guiding principle. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Anywho, the trial dragged on and on. Whole thing took about a year in the end. I'll never forget the day the verdict came down, December 28th that following year. It's April now, so, oh mama, we're talking over 17 years ago. Time sure does fly, huh? December 28th. I was there that day 17 years ago, sitting in the courtroom gallery. So before the trial got started, Gregory noticed that Samson was looking even worse than usual. But the poor guy had finally reached his limit. It was so bad, he even said he wanted to be found guilty. Wait, you mean they forced a confession out of him? Yeah. Yeah, Von Karma got what he'd been pushing for from the very beginning. And when Gregory tried to drop the bombshell about there being no body to speak of, he learned that Von Karma had used the power of the police to head him off at the pass. He even had himself a fake autopsy report, but that wasn't the end of it. Von Karma had gotten Samson to falsely testify against himself to being an accessory to murder in court. Combined with his confession, the poor guy's goose was well and truly cooked. But Gregory still had his ace in the hole, though. Same ace he asked Detective Bad to help him with. Exactamundo. He needed one last card to play if they squeezed a confession out of Samson. So he had Bad record all of Samson's interrogations.
I guess Detective Bad really wanted to know the truth too, huh?
We all did, but he was a trooper, stayed with the case even after Von Karma took him off it. He was tied up in some other big case too. Good old Bad, they don't make him like that anymore. Anyway, Gregory presented the recordings, proof that Samson's confession was coerced. And you know what? It almost worked. A cop named Ian Seidman got fired. Samson's interrogator and the initial detective before Bad, he took the fall for pretty much the whole thing. But Von Karma didn't get away scot-free. In fact, he was disciplined by the chief prosecutor for the one and only time in his 40-year career. Still, Samson himself couldn't stomach another day in court. So when the guilty verdict came down, it didn't just signal the end of that day, but of the whole sad affair. I don't remember a lot myself, but my father's face when they declared Mr. Tangaroa guilty. I was a young child at the time, but even I could tell how much that was hurting him. He was hurting inside. Gregory wanted to appeal the ruling, of course. He would have done anything to clear Samson's name. But then, well, you know what happened next. Poor guy. He never got the chance. I should have left with him that day. I'll always blame myself for not doing that. But I shoved that aside and obsessed over something else instead. Or rather, someone else. I hated what you did. Hated you for choosing to stick with Von Karma. I hope you can forgive me. No, you had every right to hate me. I went on to become a prosecutor as planned, and that's when Mr. Von Karma showed me this case file. According to these records, Mr. Tangaroa was convicted as the main culprit on Mr. Frost's murder. Nope, that's not right. Samson was convicted as an accessory to murder. Strange. The file clearly states that he was the perpetrator. Thus, I'm fairly certain that all of Mr. Von Karma's cases were successfully solved. Mind if I take a peek at those? This file's been doctored. Part about the verdict, it's been changed. What? Here, feast your peepers on this. Convicted as an accomplice? That's a copy of the file they have on record at the courthouse. And why is my copy so different? Well, you said it came from Von Karma, yeah? My guess is he didn't want Gregory's son thinking there was a murderer out there still at large. Didn't want you looking into it again before the statute of limitations was up. So everything I believed about the case was a lie? Like they say, we all gotta start somewhere. What's important is you know what's right, what's what now. The statute of limitations may have run out, but the truth's still out there, you know. I inherited Samson's case when your old man passed. Prosecution handed it off to somebody else too. The great Von Karma wasn't going to bother facing off against a rookie like me, was he? Anyway, long story short, the killer was never found, and Samson was found guilty instead. It's terrible! Is there really nothing we can do to help him? Not without the real perp, I'm afraid. Till then, his confession stands. Speaking of which, I didn't find out until after the verdict had been handed down, but Von Karma had threatened Samson and made him a deal. Told him if he didn't confess, he'd make sure Judy was convicted instead. How could he? Samson knew there was only no way Judy could have done it, of course. But he wasn't going to take any chances, so he did what he was told and confessed to keep her safe. Now riddle me this, Milesy boy. Why do you think your Uncle Eddie just happened to be in the prison the day Bronco Knight died? Ah, that's right! You were there to see Mr. Tangaroa? Bingo! Judy and I both promised we'd visit him every day. Didn't quite keep that promise. But Judy did. She never missed one visit in all these years. Came rain or shine, she always showed up. But none of that changes the fact that Samson is still being unduly punished day after day. Oh, heartbreaking. We gotta do something, Mr. Fender. Well, kiddo, that's actually why I came here. The ice sculptures are back on display just like they were all those years ago. And we're gonna see what we can find out, right, Miles and Reno? I'm a prosecutor, Fender. I don't look at these things in the same way as you or my father. Miles. But that doesn't matter right now. Speaking not as a prosecutor, but as Miles Edgeworth. I want to know the truth behind both of these cases, and I'm not leaving until I do. You really are old Gregory's son, through and through. Alrighty then, now that that's sorted, we can really get to work. Good thing I brought the IS-7 case file and evidence with me today, huh? Here, documents first. Who doesn't love paperwork, am I right? The parts in red ink are my annotations. Thank you, Fender. And here's some evidence for you. Enjoy. There's quite a few, so I'd take a minute to scope them out if I were you. Small mountain of evidence. Yes, I see. I'll take a look at them in a bit. Let's take a look at them right now. So you got the doctor files, statute of limitation expired 3 years ago. No detailed autopsy report doing the body going missing. And then the picture itself. It's not into my stuff yet. You know, our current case suggests full of loose threads too, come to think of it. Indeed. The key players of that incident 18 years ago who just happened to get caught up in another incident. The ice sculptures in the Winter Wing that are perfect replicas of the ones from 18 years ago. The poison gas attack in the Autumn Wing, which has been disguised to look like the Winter Wing. 2 chemicals that were found inside the Pisces statue display case, ubiquium and asphyxion. That form a poisonous gas when mixed together. The victim of the gas attack, Carmelo Augusto, was no stranger to the events of 18 years ago. And he was still unconscious and undergoing treatment in the medical room. And finally, we come to the body floating face down in the fountain. And the fact that the ice sculptures have melted, just as they did all those years ago. The events of the present day would appear to be intimately linked with the events of the past, which means they may be able to help us learn more about what happened 18 years ago.
Sounds good to me. Let's get investigating. Oh, no, you don't. Are you forgetting somebody? I could have sworn this is my investigation.
Eustace is quite right. I do hope you're not intending to instruct him in his duties, Mr. Edgeworth. I would hate to have to add a guilty to my report to the committee. Like, guilty of now? Of course not. I am simply offering once again to do what I can to help with this investigation. Your offer is duly noted and duly declined.
Oof, she isn't pulling any punches.
The identity of the body from the fountain is currently being ascertained. It's only a matter of time until we have all the information we need. Perhaps I can help you speed that process along. I think I have an idea of who our mystery victim might be.
What? Really? Then you'll have to tell me. It's the law.
Very well. Maybe it's just the ice sculptures that have resurfaced after 18 years. Body in the fountain may also be a visitor from the past. Yeah, I think it's him. The body in the fountain is that of the man who was murdered here 18 years ago, Mr. Artie Frost.
What? You're saying that was poor Chillywinks? Wait, what the heck is Chillywinks or Artie or whoever it is you're talking about?
Artie Frost was the famous sculptor, Eustace, although he was better known as Poor Leek. The sculptures on display here are all his works.
No way. Sounds like he did well for himself. Always good to encounter a fellow winner.
Mr. Frost was also the victim of the IS-7 incident. Judge Cavell knows about the IS-7 incident. Mr. Edgeworth, the IS-7 incident is an 18-year-old case. According to police record, the victim's body was recovered in an autopsy duly carried out. Sure, that's what the records say, but the records can't always be trusted. What are you insinuating? That while the records say stuff like body totally recovered, the defense back then begged to differ. Not that it stopped the prosecution from shutting them down hard, of course.
Yes, this is Winner. What? Really?
What is it, Eustace?
The body, we've got an ID. Some sculptor named Frost or something, so I guess Edgeworth called it.
Goddess of justice! My father's deductions were right all along. Well, Judge Cavell, I'd say this changes things, wouldn't you? Perhaps now you'll admit that I might be of use to this case. More than a certain junior prosecutor, anyway.
Gosh, no fair, you're trying to steal the win.
I'm doing no such thing. All I want is to uncover the truth. And if we're going to get to the bottom of what happened here, we'll need to work together. We do not need anything, and you do not need to know the truth. This case is none of your concern.
Objection!
Whoa there, Judge G. I think you might be wrong about that. Another of your interruptions, Mr. Fender. Yep. See, I was on the defense team for IS-7, so this case is very much my concern. I was one of the pesky kids pushing the theory that the body had actually gone missing. The prosecutor at the time may have brushed us off, but you can't deny the testimony of your eyes. Or to put it a little more bluntly, the prosecution's case was rotten from the ground up. When there's been a miscarriage of justice caused by the prosecution, it's the committee's job to fix it, no? Ugh. And who better to help you unpack the mess than someone who was there at the time? Unless you have an ulterior motive. Judge Cavell seems to know the facts of the IS-7 incident in some detail. In which case, I suspect that she must be here on the committee's behalf. No connection to the case is noted, Mr. Fender, but I fail to see what concerns Mr. Edgeworth. He's the son of the original defense attorney and the protege of the case lead's prosecutor. If that's not enough for you, he was at the trial, too. I think it's just possible he may have a little something to bring to the table, don't you? Very well, you may both assist in the investigation. But only if you're afraid from interrupting with the work of others. The Widow Wing is off limits for now. This room, however, is all yours. Alrighty, great to hear we're on the same wavelength, G. Why don't we bring it in to show we're all on the same side of justice? Do not test me, Mr. Fender. Your permission to investigate can be revoked at any time. Duly noted, Your Honor. Does it turn up for the books, huh, Milesy? We get to do our thing after all. Thanks to your immeasurable help as always. And ad break. Let the ad break run, and I think we'll call it here. Once we get out of this conversation. Into our next point of investigation. It's been a good stream. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not tonight, but I decided to just do it. I figured I was the only one doing it. I was alone tonight, not doing anything with anybody else, so I figured, fuck it, I'll stream something tonight. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the impromptu out of nowhere stream tonight as well. It definitely takes my mind off of looking for recruitment discords and trying to figure out, like, finding a group for shit. Because, God, people are delusional sometimes. I fucking tell you, man. Ba, ba, ba. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get through the investigation here, and then once we get back out of our cutscene, we'll call it the stream there. So let's keep going. And no sweat, but besides, I was mostly doing it for me. Okay, I'll be investigating my own thing, so just holler if you find something interesting. I will. Okay, shall we?
Heck yeah! Let the investigation commence.
We're still unclear on two key factors. How Mr. Frost's body came to be, or where we found it, and the source of the ubiquium.
You're right. We need some more intel.
Indeed. Let's focus on the ubiquium first and foremost.
It's used in stuff like dish soap and paint, right?
Correct. It's also bright red in color and has a distinctive minty fragrance.
Okay, sounds like we know what we're looking for.
All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and save it there. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, and I had a good time. Let's see who's online, and I'll send you guys off. I'll send you guys over to Cyros. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time.